Hello, welcome to Q&A number 5 for 700 subscribers. So at some point in one part of this video, I will announce the giveaway winner. If you've won, please contact me and I'll ask you to prove you are by probably adding something to your description on your channel or something like that. If you can't be bothered to watch to find out that you've won, then tough, you don't win anything. So, question 1. Captain Vyom asks, did you ever take a break from cubing? If yes, how did it affect your times? Were you able to get to your regular times instantly? Please correct your spelling. No, I'm not. I need to stop complaining about that. Right, so did I ever take a break? Not really. I think the last time I went a day without doing at least one 3x3 solve was back in July 2016, I think. So that's a very long time ago. And no, I don't think it really made a difference. I mean, back in that early 2016 was a season of when I was just using a really loose Moyu Oolong. I didn't really pay too much attention to speed cubing in general, but I did still cube a bit. It was only when I went to a competition at the end of 2016 and started taking it seriously, learned full PLL and started actually progressing properly. But in reality, not really. I haven't really done much 7x7 recently, and I think I am slightly slower, but if I did 5 solves on a good day, I could easily get back down to what I was averaging. Okay. Cubable asks, would you ever try to make a non-silicone lubricant? I've never tried to make a silicone lubricant yet. For now, I think I'm just going to let people who know what they're doing make lubricants. And spoiler alert, we might be getting some lubricants from Michael Hauksuk in Poland soon. Just saying. But that might be in about a month. Sarah Santos ask, congratulations Daniel, I'm a new subscriber and I'm loving your video so far. I just wish they were longer. This because I can't get tired of your dry sense of humour. Okay, well, I guess you've got lots of Q&A questions. I've never really had anyone say that before. How did you build your online store in the UK? What are the challenges you're currently facing as an owner of a Cube store? So I just use Shopify. It's simple. I think I tried to find a way of doing it for free beforehand, but ultimately Shopify is just best way of doing it probably, hence why most of the big Cube stores use it. What are the challenges? Well, just being able to keep on top of stock, knowing what people are going to want, and not buying too much but also not buying too little, and also transporting stuff up and down. That's challenging. Now I'm at uni and have to keep transporting stuff and tell my parents yeah, I do need all my stuff down over Christmas because, yeah, I want my customers to get their cubes quickly, funnily enough. Annie Zan, congratulations. What is the coolest puzzle you have owned/solved? How long did it take you? 13x13, took me 59 minutes. That's probably quite cool. Maybe one day I'll get something bigger, but they do get really expensive, so I don't know whether it's really worth it considering spend £70 on a cube, well, more than that really, and then solve it once, maybe twice. That's the problem. Will, what keeps you motivated to cube, and did you ever stop cubing for a while? What keeps me motivated? Well, I do have a cube store. That kind of helps a bit. Did I ever stop? I never really stopped. I mean, I've done it less for periods of time, but never really completely stopped since I started all the way back in 2012. Even when we had these horrendous, horrible, stiff-turning cubes. You guys have it so easy now. If you're starting out and you just get an RS3M 2020 for £10 from speedcubing.org, you have it so easy. Rachel Emma. Okay, 3 questions. I feel like I remember you mentioning university in a previous Q&A. How do you balance that with starting up a business? Well, I'm quite busy. Even though, I mean, first year's not that difficult really, but I am quite busy. I do a lot of stuff, so yeah, it's somewhat difficult, but I just have to do it. I recently discovered your neutrino line. Do you include something to say? Interesting. Right. So, neutrino cubes are currently done with basically angstrom lubricants and DNM37. Yeah, currently. For the neutrino RS3M 2020 specifically, I also add extra magnets because the magnets are way too weak anyway. But for the other ones, I don't really see the point in doing that. So yeah, I mean, it's basically how I would just set them up. Like, that's what I would usually do to a cube that I'm considering using as my main. I would set it up with angstrom usually, so do that for the neutrino version. And I do it for specific cubes because they're generally popular. I've started to enjoy some non-WCA cubes, some gear cubes, and a few shape mods. Are there any non-WCA puzzles that you would recommend that are a fun challenge that you enjoy? Ultimately, there's such a big range of non-WCA puzzles, from stuff that's just kind of like a 3x3, like all the fruit cubes, like they're just kind of 3x3s, are they? Yeah, like all the fruit cubes except for the banana are just basically 3x3s, so you could have a nice fun challenge getting one of those. The puppet cubes are a real challenge. I've recently got some of these Shengshao, giant Shengshao magic towers, which I haven't tried myself, but I suspect they'd be quite a challenge and quite fun if you like that sort of thing. Or just get a giant cube. Yeah. All the puppet cubes, I still haven't solved them. Right, Borea Zero. Sorry, I couldn't pronounce that. So, why do you think cubes were so bad for so many years and all of a sudden a warp speed progress over the last 5 years? To be honest, I don't think it's been quite that dramatic. More over the last 10 years. I think Dian Guhong came out in 2010. And that kind of revolutionised things and started the modern era of speed cubes. So I'd consider a speed cube to be anything better or equal in performance to the Dian Guhong. That doesn't mean that you should get a speed cube that's equal to the performance of a Dian Guhong today, because that's just stupid. However, I think it's just that people have realised they're allowed to innovate and there is a clear demand for that innovation. So the more you encourage new manufacturers, like the Peak Cube, which one's that? Yes, the Peak Cube. It may not be the best cube out there, but if you can afford to try something new, you might like it, and it supports a new designer. And that encourages innovation. Epic Cuber 7. What has been the highlight of your cubing life so far? There's been a few things that have been quite interesting. I mean, general cubing, like, it's going to have to be, like, coming second at UK Championships for 7x7, being up there on the podium. I would have liked to have won it, but obviously LEJ is pretty good. Like, even though, like, if I'd got the same average I got in the first round, I would have beaten him because he just did so badly compared to what he usually gets in the final. But then, like, other things like Young Traders final, and so quickly from starting my business, there I am, national final of the Young Traders competition. That was brilliant. Shame I couldn't get there again this year, or last year now. Aradia Mohapatra, what is your motivation for cubing? I run a cube store and I enjoy cubing. Do you think one look OLL is necessary for sub 15? I really don't like questions like this, because The reality is, of course not. Of course you can get sub 15 without knowing full OLL. In fact, I might as well just prove that right now. Okay, I'm going to scramble this cube up, and I'm going to solve it in under 15 seconds without full OLL. Let's go. Right, okay, so just do that, and then COLL. There we go, ZPAM. I did not use full OLL. I'm pretty sure that was sub 15. I'll be surprised if it isn't. I did use COLL. I probably would have still been sub 15 without using COLL. But ultimately, no, it's not necessary. In fact, it's not necessary for sub 10. It's probably not even necessary for sub 7. However, if you want to be sub 15 without knowing full OLL, it's probably going to take you more effort than just learning full OLL. So you might as well just learn full OLL. There we go. Cubing official. From where do you get the cubes from your store? Are you getting them directly from the manufacturer? So sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm getting from other wholesalers in China. So for example, I recently got a big order of YJ cubes directly from YJ. YJ have been quite nice to me, and yeah, I've also ordered from Moyu themselves occasionally, but they require quite big minimum order quantities that I can't always justify. So usually I do have to order from other wholesalers, but obviously in pretty big quantities anyway. Cube Bear King. Burr King. What's the biggest cube you've solved? 13 by 13. An average cuber. How do you start your online store? Shopify. Yeah. Made a website, started selling some cubes off it, tried to advertise it around, like, probably in the wrong places to start with. Anyway. Arjun Sharma, what were you averaging when you first started to cube? Well, my first solve was slow. I didn't even time it, and then within a few months I'd got my average down to about 1 minute 20, and it kind of stagnated there because I was using a terrible Rubik's brand cube and not really practicing that much. And then suddenly I get my Diane Zanchi and my Moyu YJ Sulong at the same time. Guess what happens to my time? Straight down to 50 seconds, because even quite old speed cubes are way better than old Rubik's brands. One tier apostrophe S, perfect. What's your favourite event? It's got to still be 7x7, even though I don't practice it that much. I'm practicing 3x3 most these days. What's the biggest puzzle you own? 13x13. How many puzzles in your collection? You can count if you can be bothered. Yeah. Probably about 200. Melon Cuba, what is the worst cube you've tried before? There are actually cubes that are even worse than a Rubik's brand. I kind of hide them right at the back. This one here, for example, is just absolute. Actually, that's not as bad as I remember it. Not sure which one. I have tried cubes that are definitely even worse than a Rubik's brand. I mean, here's my old Rubik's brand with the entire orange face fallen off. Yeah, there are really terrible cubes out there, but I don't really want to get into my whole collection right now. Luca Cubed, what is your favourite tensioning system in the 3x3? To be honest, I haven't had enough time to really try them all out. I just kind of just like the simple things, really. I don't really want anything too complicated, because it kind of gets to the point these days where you have 100 different options you can choose from, and like, nobody's going to try all of them out to know which they definitely like the best, and it usually feels really good out of the box anyway. It's a very difficult thing, actually. Why Cuba? What are your main events and what are your averages for those events? So at the moment I'm practicing 3x3 mostly, and I'm just about sub 10 now. And I guess I still like 6x6 and 7x7. I'm still decent at them. Sub 2 for 6x6, sub 3 for 7x7. Yeah, I'm sure I could get back down to like 245 for 7x7 with a bit of practice. Cubing sports. When do you start to have a cubing store release? Okay, that question doesn't really make sense. I presume you mean when did you start your cubing store? And online, August 2019. Yeah. Corner twisted. Do you think you will ever get an NAR? If so, on what event? Right, okay, that's kind of difficult because I don't live in North America, so I can't get a North American record for any event. A UK national record, well, I kind of wanted to get 6x6 and 7x7 national record for ages and ages, and then just never happened. And then competitions were cancelled, and I didn't really have the motivation and to actually try and cut 20 seconds off my 7x7 times to actually break national record. But maybe one day I'll really get back into it, but I'm just too busy at the moment. How did you decide to start cubing? I found a cube on the shelf, finally grew tall enough to reach it, and my mum happened to know how to solve it, so she taught me, and I just practiced. How big do you foresee your store becoming? I really don't know. It would be nice to have it pretty big and actually be able to do all sorts of things around the place, promoting cubing and doing this as a full-time job. But I don't know. I'd like to have an actual cube shop. Ultimately, that's kind of would be brilliant. But then the question is, where do you put it? Arnold Emil, do you find it hard to keep up with your studies and running the store? Kind of. I mean, probably not studying as hard as I should do, but yeah, that's just the way it is. Hello. What is the fastest cube you've ever felt? No, it's not the WRM maglev. The RS3M 2021 maglev was way faster out of the box than the WRM 2021. Is that the fastest? It probably is the fastest that I can recall. There probably are even faster ones. I mean, ultimately, you can make a lot of cubes a lot faster than they are. It is weird getting used to like the fact you can just do U2s on a GAN cube, and they do on my GAN leap, and they do just line up perfectly. I don't even use the double flex anyway, and it just works fine. But yeah, I think I could do U6 on RSRM 2021 if I remember rightly. Not sure. Rubik's Cube King 7. Which budget 3x3 would you recommend for a beginner? I think it's still the RS3M 2020, and better still the Neutrino version. Like there are other options which are interesting, like Huge Little Magic V2 and GMS and all that. But ultimately, like the RS3M 2020 is a tried and tested one that most people like. Windmill Lord H. Was there a particular inspiration for you to start cubing or to start your YouTube channel? Not really. As I said, I reached the cube on the shelf. That's it, really. I was thinking actually recently, like I remember showing my mum the world record at the time, back in like late 2012, early 2013, and it was I think 5.66, and like she didn't believe that was possible, and now I've done that. I've done a 5.09 solve, So like, it definitely is possible. And obviously, like, now Timon's got a 5.09 world record average. Like, screw cubing. What inspired you to start a cubing store? People having bad cubes, to put it quite simply, and the realization that I could. Well, that's it, really. Annabelle, what is your favourite cube and why do you like it? I've already answered that in my last video. What cube would you recommend for someone who wants a buttery cube? Maybe something like a Tornado V2M? I mean, I don't really like that cube, but like, it could fit the description. Don't really know, to be honest. Yeah, something from Chi, probably. Tornado V2 or Valkyrie. And on the subject of Valk cubes, just a quick mention that they're probably going to die out and be really hard to find, and I will be ordering quite a lot soon, so I'd recommend that you get them quickly.